Okay, I'm going to try to read this. Don't laugh at my reading. I have trouble sometimes. So, listen to this. What started as a lie, as a prop-based lie, becomes through its enactment, through a bunch of people acting as if true, it becomes embedded, embodied, and extended. These celluloid experiments in decivilization point out the obvious, that without the props of civilization, we revert back to basic bestial behavior. But Costner's film points out something subtler, that there is something fictional, something performative at the heart of our civilization. The father of utilitarianism and philosopher of law, Jeremy Bentham, was one of the first to notice that a lot of our civilized behavior was, strictly speaking, based on fictions and fictitious entities. Legal contracts were his point of departure. A contract is purely notional, not just some words on paper full of abstract notions, like rights and obligations, which, again, strictly speaking, don't really exist. Yet, if we all behave as if the contract and the notions within it are true, then it becomes so. So then I move on to death. A skeleton in a cloak holding a scythe, of course, and his granddaughter Susan are reflecting on the meaning and purpose of their successful saving of his alternative universe's Christmas by taking over the role of the Hogfather for the night. Death has managed to sustain belief in that entity, for he has a deeper sense of what happens when humans stop believing in fictions. Susan says, "You're saying humans need fantasies to make life bearable." Death says, "No, humans need fantasy to be human, to be the place where the falling angel meets the rising ape." Susan says, "Tooth fairies? Hogfathers?" Death says, Death says, "Yes, as practice, you have to start out learning to believe little lies." Susan says, "So we can believe the big ones." Death says, "Yes, justice, mercy, duty, that sort of thing." Susan says, "They're not the same at all." Death says, "Take the universe and grind it down to the finest powder and sieve it through with the finest sieve, and then show me one atom of justice, one molecule of mercy, and yet you act as if there were some sort of rightness in the universe by which it may be judged."